My wife's family spoke another language at dinner to be polite. I'm fluent and heard them planning my murder. We do it next Tuesday, my mother-in-law said in Mandarin, passing me the dumplings. Make it look like the hiking accident. I smiled and took 3 dumplings. These look amazing, thank you. She smiled back. In English, you're so welcome, David. Eat, eat. My wife Elena squeezed my hand under the table. She had no idea her family had just set the date for my death. I met Elena Zhang 3 years ago at a tech conference in San Francisco. She was a product manager at a startup. I was a software engineer at Google. We talked for 4 hours at the hotel bar about terrible sci-fi movies and the ethics of AI, and I knew before the night ended that I was going to marry her. We got engaged after 14 months, married 6 months later. Small ceremony in Napa, just close family and friends. Her parents, Jun and Liling Zhang, immigrated from Shanghai in 1989. Her older brother Marcus was born there. Elena was born here. They ran a successful import business in the South Bay. Nice house in Los Altos, BMW in the driveway. The American dream, by every visible measure. They were polite to me, warm even. But from the beginning, there was something off. At our first family dinner, Jun spoke to Elena in Mandarin for maybe 15 minutes straight while I sat there eating mushu pork and smiling like an idiot. When Elena finally responded in English, "Dad, David's here. Can we just speak English?" He waved dismissively. "We're just discussing business." Boring for him. Elena looked embarrassed. "It's rude. He doesn't mind. Do you mind, David?" "Of course not," I lied. That became the pattern. Family dinners every other Sunday. 2 hours of Mandarin conversation punctuated by occasional English translations that were clearly sanitized versions of what was actually being said. I'd smile, nod, eat my food, compliment Liling's cooking. I told myself it didn't matter. Elena loved me. That was enough. Except it did matter, because after 8 months of these dinners, I started noticing things. The way Jun would glance at me when he thought I wasn't looking. Not friendly curiosity, but assessment. Like I was livestock he was evaluating. The way Liling's smile never reached her eyes when she spoke to me. The way Marcus, who worked in his parents' business and still lived at home at age 34, would sometimes just stare at me across the table with this flat, unreadable expression. And the conversations. Always in Mandarin. Always stopping abruptly when I looked up from my plate. Elena insisted it wasn't about me. They're just more comfortable in Chinese. It's not personal. But it felt personal. Here's what Elena didn't know. I'm fluent in Mandarin. Not conversational fluent. Native fluent. I spent 4 years in Beijing doing my master's in computer science at Tsinghua University. Lived with a host family. Dated a local girl for 2 years. Worked at Baidu for 18 months after graduation before moving back to the States. My Mandarin is better than my Spanish, and I grew up in San Diego speaking Spanish with my grandmother. I never told Elena because it never came up. We spoke English. Her Mandarin was decent but limited. She'd grown up in the States, went to American schools, and mostly used it with her parents. She never asked if I spoke it, and I never volunteered. By the time I realized her family was using Mandarin as a shield to exclude me, I also realized that telling them I understood would make things worse. They'd just switch to another dialect, Shanghainese maybe, which I didn't speak, or stop talking altogether. So I kept quiet, and I listened. The first concerning thing I heard was at dinner in March, 6 months after the wedding. Jun was talking about the business, something about a shipment that had been delayed. Then he said in Mandarin, "We'll need to adjust the timeline. The insurance needs to be in place first." Marcus responded, "How long?" 3 months, 4 at most. "And if he becomes a problem before then?" Jun glanced at me. I was cutting my beef with black bean sauce, oblivious. "He won't," Jun said. "Elena keeps him manageable." I kept chewing. Manageable. I told myself I was paranoid, that I was misunderstanding context, that manageable could mean anything. Maybe they thought I was high maintenance or that I demanded too much of Elena's time, but my hands were shaking under the table. The second concerning thing was in May. We were at the house for Elena's birthday. There was a cake, presents. Liling made Elena's favorite, lion's head meatballs. Everything felt normal. Then, while Elena was in the bathroom, Jun turned to Marcus and said in Mandarin, "The policy is locked in, $2 million. Marcus nodded. "When's the effective date?" "June 1st. "And the beneficiary?" "Elena. Then it reverts to us if anything happens to her." Liling cut in. "Nothing will happen to her. This is only about him." They all looked at me. I was scrolling through my phone, pretending to check work emails. Jun smiled. "David, more tea?" "I'm good, thanks." When Elena came back, they switched to English and sang happy birthday. I didn't sleep that night. $2 million policy. Beneficiary Elena. This is only about him. I pulled up our insurance documents on my laptop at 2:30 a.m. Elena was asleep next to me, her breathing soft and even. There it was. A life insurance policy I didn't remember signing, issued by Pacific Coast Insurance Group. $2 million payout on accidental death. Signed in March, right after that first conversation I'd overheard. But I didn't remember signing it. I checked the signature. It looked like mine. Close enough, anyway. I sat there staring at the screen until my eyes burned. They'd forged my signature on a life insurance policy, and they were planning something. I didn't tell Elena, I know how that sounds. My wife's family was planning to kill me, and I didn't tell her. But what was I supposed to say? Hey babe, I secretly speak Mandarin and I've been eavesdropping on your family and I think they're plotting my murder. She'd think I was insane, or paranoid, or racist, and maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was misunderstanding. Maybe this is only about him meant something totally innocent that I was twisting into a conspiracy theory because I'd never felt fully accepted by her family. So I decided to gather evidence first. I started recording the dinners. I bought a small digital voice recorder, a Sony ICD PX470, $60 on Amazon, and clipped it inside my jacket pocket. It had 16 hours of battery life, more than enough. The first recording was from a dinner in mid-June. Jun and Marcus talked about business for 40 minutes, shipping schedules, customs paperwork, boring logistics. Then Liling said, "Have you made the arrangements?" Jun, "Yes. The trail is remote enough. No witnesses." Marcus, "What about Elena?" Jun, "She stays home. We'll say it's a father-son outing. Bonding." Liling, "And the ranger? You trust him?" Jun, "He's been paid. He'll confirm whatever we need." Marcus, "When?" Jun, "After the 4th of July. Give it a few weeks so it doesn't seem rushed." I dropped my fork. It clattered against my plate. Everyone looked at me. "Sorry," I said. "Slipped." Elena laughed. "Smooth, babe." I picked up the fork with a hand that wouldn't stop shaking. I listened to that recording 17 times. The trail is remote enough. No witnesses. They were planning a hiking accident, somewhere isolated, with a ranger on their payroll who'd confirm whatever story they invented, and they were planning it for after the 4th of July. It was June 20th. I had maybe 3 weeks. I went to the police, Mountain View Police Department, asked to speak to a detective. Got Detective Rachel Brennan, 12 years with the department, specialized in fraud and financial crimes. I told her everything. She listened, took notes, asked clarifying questions. Then she said, "Do you have proof?" "I have recordings." "Of conversations in Mandarin?" "Yes." "And you're the only one who understands what they're saying?" "Yes." She leaned back. "Mr. Torres, I'm not saying I don't believe you, but what you're describing is a conspiracy to commit murder. That's an extraordinary claim. The DA would need extraordinary evidence. Recordings in a foreign language that only you can translate. That's not enough. Defense would argue you mistranslated, took things out of context, fabricated the whole thing. So what am I supposed to do? Get corroborating evidence, documents, witnesses, something that proves intent beyond your interpretation of overheard conversations. And if they kill me before I can get that evidence? She didn't have an answer. I hired a private investigator. His name was Ken Ochoa, former cop, 26 years with San Jose PD, now running his own firm. He specialized in domestic investigations, infidelity, fraud, asset searches. I told him everything, played him the recordings. He listened without interrupting. "Can you translate these professionally?" he asked. "Get a certified translator to verify what you're hearing?" "Yes." "Do it. I'll dig into the family finances, see if there's anything unusual. Payments to this ranger, the insurance policy, any other red flags." He charged $200 an hour. I paid him a $5,000 retainer. Over the next week he found the life insurance policy had been purchased through a shell company owned by Jun Zhang. A $15,000 payment from Jun's business account to someone named Derek Messina on June 2nd. Memo line, consulting services. Derek Messina was a park ranger at Henry Coe State Park, a massive remote wilderness area east of San Jose. Perfect place for a hiking accident. Jun had Googled accidental death versus murder investigation and how long does life insurance take to pay out on May 18th. Ken handed me a folder with printouts of everything. "This is good," he said, "but it's still circumstantial. You need something explicit, a confession, a recording where they explicitly say they're going to kill you. I don't know if I'll get that before July. Then you need to make it happen." I planned the dinner. Called Elena on June 28th. "Hey, what if we host your family this Sunday? I could grill. We haven't had them over in a while." She was surprised. "Really? You want to host?" "Yeah, I've been thinking I should make more of an effort with them. They're your family. I want them to feel welcome." She kissed me. "I love you. This means a lot." I felt like a monster. Sunday, July 2nd. They arrived at 4 p.m. Jun brought wine. Liling brought a fruit tray. Marcus brought nothing and looked annoyed to be there. I grilled chicken and vegetables, made rice, set the table on our back patio. Everything perfect, friendly, normal. Except I had 3 voice recorders hidden around the patio. One clipped under the table, one in the planter behind Jun's chair, one in my pocket. We ate, made small talk. Elena told a funny story about a meeting at work. Everyone laughed. Then I said in English, "So Jun, I was thinking, you mentioned wanting to take me hiking sometime. Maybe we could do that soon? I'd love to see some of the trails you like." Jun's expression didn't change. "Yes, we should. How about next week? I have Thursday off." He glanced at Marcus, then back to me. "Next week is busy. Maybe later in the month." "Oh, sure. Whenever works." The conversation moved on. But later, when Elena went inside to get dessert, Jun leaned over to Marcus and said in Mandarin, "He's pushing." "Why is he pushing?" Marcus shrugged. "Doesn't matter. We go Tuesday regardless. And if he doesn't come, then we adjust. But he'll come. Elena will make hike him. Liling added, the ranger is confirmed for Tuesday at 8 a.m., Trailhead B. Make sure you're not late. Jun nodded. Then Elena came back out with the cake, and they started singing Happy Birthday to America or some bullshit, and I sat there with my heart trying to break through my ribs. Tuesday, 8 a.m., Trailhead B. They'd just given me everything I needed. I went back to Detective Brennan Monday morning, walked into the station with the recordings, the professional translations, Ken's investigation file, and a printout of Derek Messina's employment records showing he was scheduled to work Trailhead B on Tuesday morning. She listened to the recordings, read the translations, reviewed the evidence. Then she made a phone call. An hour later, I was sitting in a conference room with her, 2 other detectives, and an assistant district attorney named Lauren Park. Lauren was 38, sharp-eyed, and didn't waste time on pleasantries. This is enough for a wire, she said. We can get a warrant, have you wear a recording device Tuesday morning, and catch them in the act, or attempting to. You want me to actually go hiking with them? We'll have officers in the park, plain clothes, hikers. You won't be in danger. How can you guarantee that? We can't, she said flatly, but we can get close enough to intervene within 30 seconds of any threatening action. And if they do something actionable, assault, attempted murder, we have them on multiple felonies. Detective Brennan added, we'll also arrest Derek Messina before you arrive. He won't be there. That might spook them, might make them abort. Either way, you're safer. I thought about Elena, about how this was going to destroy her. Do it, I said. Tuesday, July 4th, 6:47 a.m. I was wearing a wire, a tiny microphone clipped inside my shirt, a transmitter taped to my lower back, and a GPS tracker in my shoe. I looked like I was going hiking, boots, cargo pants, a moisture-wicking shirt, a backpack with water and snacks. Elena was still asleep. I'd told her I was going for an early hike with her dad and Marcus. She'd smiled and kissed me and said, have fun, be safe. I left her a note on the kitchen counter. If you're reading this, I'm sorry. John picked me up at 7:15 a.m. Marcus was in the back seat. No one spoke. Classic rock played quietly on the radio. We drove east on Highway 101, then cut inland toward Henry Coe State Park. The roads got narrower, the houses spread farther apart, the trees thickened. At 7:58 a.m., we pulled into the parking lot at Trailhead B. There were 3 other cars there, hikers. Except they weren't hikers, they were cops. I recognized Detective Brennan in a baseball cap and sunglasses, leaning against a Subaru and drinking coffee. Jun parked. We got out. Where's the ranger? Marcus asked in Mandarin. Jun frowned. He should be here. Call him. Jun pulled out his phone, dialed, waited. No answer. Weird, he muttered. Forget it, Marcus said. We don't need him. They looked at me. I smiled. This is beautiful. I've never been here. Very remote, Jun said in English. Good place to clear your mind. We started hiking. The trail climbed steeply for the first mile. Narrow switchbacks through scrub oak and manzanita. The sun was already hot. I could feel sweat soaking through my shirt, partly from exertion, partly from fear. Jun and Marcus stayed close. Too close. One in front, one behind, flanking me. At one point, Marcus said in Mandarin, how far? Jun, another half mile. There's a cliff. My stomach dropped. We kept walking. The trail leveled out. We crossed a ridge. Below us, a steep drop, maybe 80 feet down to a dry creek bed. Jun stopped. Let's take a break, he said in English. Enjoy the view. I walked to the edge and looked down. Rocks. Hard earth. No way you'd survive a fall from here. I turned around. Marcus was holding a knife. Not a big knife. A folding knife. Maybe 4 inches. But enough. You know, Jun said, still in English. You've been a disappointment, David. I don't understand. You're weak. Passive. Not what Elena needs. Not what our family needs. I love her. Love isn't enough. He switched to Mandarin. You were supposed to make her happy, give us grandchildren, stay out of the way. But you've been a burden, expensive, inconvenient. And now, with the policy in place, you're more valuable dead than alive, Marcus finished. I raised my hands. Please, we can talk about this. Jun laughed. Talk. We're done talking. Marcus moved toward me. And that's when Detective Brennan stepped out from behind a boulder 20 feet away, gun drawn. Police! Drop the knife! Hands in the air! 2 more officers appeared from the trail behind us. Another 2 from the brush to the left. Marcus froze. Dropped the knife. Jun's face went white. Jun Zhang, Marcus Zhang, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder and attempted murder, Brennan said. You have the right to remain. Jun turned and ran. Made it maybe 15 feet before an officer tackled him. They handcuffed both of them on the trail, read them their rights, walked them back down to the parking lot while I stood there shaking, trying not to vomit. Detective Brennan put a hand on my shoulder. You okay? No, you did good. We got everything. Audio, visual, witnesses. This is airtight. What about Derek Messina? Arrested at 6 a.m. at his house. He's already talking. Gave up everything. The payment, the plan, how he was supposed to confirm it was an accident. I sat down on a rock. What happens now? They'll be arraigned tomorrow. DA will push for no bail given the flight risk. You'll need to testify at trial. But with this evidence, they're going away for a long time. And Elena? Brennan hesitated. That's not my department. I called Elena from the parking lot. She didn't answer. I tried again. No answer. I drove home. She was in the living room, still in her pajamas, staring at the TV. The news was on. Local station. Breaking story. 2 men woman arrested in alleged murder-for-hire plot. Victim, their own son-in-law. She looked at me. Her eyes were red. Is it true? She whispered. I nodded. She started crying. I wanted to hold her, wanted to tell her it wasn't her fault, wanted to say we'd get through this, but I didn't move, because I didn't know if we would. The trial took 8 months. John and Marcus were charged with conspiracy to commit murder, attempted murder, insurance fraud, and forgery. Liling was charged as an accessory after the fact for her role in planning. All 3 pled not guilty. The prosecution had recordings, translations, financial records, Derek Messina's testimony, my testimony. The defense argued I'd mistranslated everything, that the conversations were taken out of context, that the knife was for cutting rope on the trail, that I was paranoid and had fabricated a conspiracy because I felt culturally excluded. The jury didn't buy it. John, guilty on all counts, sentenced to 23 years. Marcus, guilty on all counts, sentenced to 18 years. Liling, guilty as an accessory, sentenced to 6 years. Elena sat in the back of the courtroom every day. She never looked at them. We're separated now. Not divorced, not yet, but separated. She's living with a friend in Oakland. I'm still in our house in Mountain View. We talk sometimes. Therapy sessions mostly with Dr. Nathan Cross, a licensed marriage counselor specializing in trauma. She wants to make it work. Says it wasn't my fault. Says she doesn't blame me. But I see it in her eyes. The doubt. The question she won't ask out loud. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Maybe I should have. Maybe if I'd told her the first time I heard something suspicious, we could have handled it differently. Maybe her family would have backed off. Maybe no one would have gone to prison. Or maybe they would have just killed me faster. I don't know. What I do know, I can't unhear those conversations. Can't unsee Marcus holding that knife. Can't forget that the people who raised Elena, who she loved and trusted, decided I was worth more dead than alive. And I can't forgive myself for letting her love me into a family that wanted me gone. It's been 11 months. June's appeals were denied. Marcus is in San Quentin. Liling's at a minimum security facility in Northern California. Elena visits her mother once a month. I don't ask how it goes. I changed jobs, moved to a new apartment in San Jose, started seeing Dr. Amy Liu, a trauma therapist, twice a week. I don't speak Mandarin anymore, can't. Every time I hear it, in a restaurant, on the street, in a movie, I'm back on that trail with a knife in my peripheral vision and nowhere to run. Elena says she wants to try again, start over, go to couples therapy, maybe move somewhere new, somewhere without ghosts. I told her I'd think about it, but here's the truth. I don't know if I can. Because every time I look at her, I see her father's face. Hear her mother's voice planning my death over dumplings, feel her brother's presence behind me on that trail. And I know that none of it was her fault. But I can't stop wondering, if I died that day, would she have believed it was an accident? Would she have mourned me, collected the $2 million and moved on? Or would some part of her have known? I'll never have that answer. And that might be the worst part of all. If you made it this far, thank you. And if your gut is telling you something's wrong, even when everyone says you're paranoid, trust it. Because sometimes the people smiling at you across the table are counting down the days until you're gone.